Welcome, gents. Who do you become after walking through the fire of someone who tried to break you from the inside out? This is the question every Sigma male answers when he survives the grip of a narcissist. Most people do not understand what it means to absorb darkness and still rise, but for the Sigma, this experience changes everything about the way he sees life, people, and himself. When a narcissist tries to drain you, they are not just attacking your emotions, they are attacking your sense of reality. They twist your words, challenge your truth, and force you to question your own strength. But the Sigma who survives this storm does not come out weaker. He comes out sharper, wiser, and more dangerous to anyone who tries to control him again. Surviving a narcissist is not just about endurance, it is about transformation. The Sigma learns that pain is not just suffering, it is a teacher. Betrayal becomes his compass for spotting false loyalty. Lies become his training ground for mastering truth. The manipulation that once tried to hold him becomes the very fuel that builds his unshakable independence. If you have ever been through such darkness, take encouragement. You are not broken, you are being remade. Like a blade tempered in fire, you are becoming stronger than you ever imagined. The Sigma male who survives does not just escape, he evolves into a version of himself that no narcissist can ever touch again. Let's get started, gents. Number one, he becomes comfortable with being feared because he has seen how respect built on fear often reveals who truly understands boundaries. There is a strange kind of power that comes after surviving someone who tried to control you, use you, and bend your mind to their will. For the Sigma male, this transformation is unlike anything most people can imagine. He learns that sometimes being feared is not a curse, but a gift. He becomes comfortable with it, not because he is cruel or reckless, but because he understands something most people miss. Respect that is born out of fear often reveals who truly knows how to honor boundaries. Think about it. When people fear crossing you, they tread more carefully. They weigh their words before speaking and measure their actions before moving. They do not test your patience or mistake your kindness for weakness. In everyday life, this shows up in simple but powerful ways. At work, the Sigma does not need to argue endlessly to prove a point. His calm but firm presence makes others think twice before trying to undermine him. In relationships, he no longer entertains manipulation. A narcissist may have once fed on his empathy, but now he carries an energy that warns people silently. This is not someone to play games with. The Sigma is not feared for noise or threats. He is feared because he knows himself too well to be shaken, and that kind of steadiness is intimidating to those who rely on chaos to gain control. Fear, in this sense, becomes less about intimidation and more about clarity. It filters out the ones who only wanted to take advantage, leaving behind those who genuinely respect him. So when the Sigma male stands tall after absorbing the darkness of a narcissist, he no longer runs from fear. He accepts it as part of his aura, part of the unspoken contract between him and the world. Those who fear him reveal their own intentions, and those who respect him find themselves standing beside someone who will never again bend where he should stand firm. Number two, he becomes someone who no longer negotiates his worth, because the narcissist once tried to put a price tag on him, and he tore it off forever. There is a moment in life when a man decides that his value is not up for debate. For the Sigma male, this moment often comes after surviving the grip of a narcissist. A narcissist will try to measure him, label him, and even convince him that his worth depends on how useful he is to their agenda. They treat him like a product, something to be used, praised when convenient and discarded when not. But the Sigma eventually wakes up, and when he does, he rips off that imaginary price tag and never lets anyone put it back on again. Think about the workplace. Some people constantly adjust themselves just to keep their job secure, agreeing to endless tasks, staying quiet when they deserve recognition, and settling for less pay because they fear rocking the boat. A Sigma male who has endured a narcissist no longer plays that game. He understands that his skills, his intelligence, and his discipline are not up for bargaining. He will walk away from any situation where his value is diminished rather than compromise who he is. That decision, though tough, keeps him free. In relationships, it is the same. A narcissist may have once made him feel that love had conditions, that he had to earn care by giving more, sacrificing more, and being less of himself. But the Sigma who survives knows love is not a business transaction. He will no longer trade pieces of himself to keep someone else comfortable. This kind of transformation makes him unshakable. When others try to test him with manipulation or empty promises, he does not flinch. His worth is not something they can touch because he stopped negotiating it the moment he realized his life cannot be priced. The Sigma male becomes a man who lives with the quiet confidence of knowing that his value is fixed. He does not wait for approval. He does not accept discounts on his soul. He knows what he brings, and because of that, no one can ever put him on sale again. Number 3, he becomes a master at controlled distance, close enough to study people, far enough never to be trapped again. One of the most powerful lessons a Sigma male learns after surviving the games of a narcissist is the art of controlled distance. He discovers how to position himself close enough to understand people, but never so close that he loses himself in their drama. This balance is not born from coldness. It is born from wisdom, from knowing how easily trust can be turned into a cage when given to the wrong hands. Picture it in everyday life. At work, he can laugh and talk with his colleagues, but he does not overshare his struggles or give away his deepest thoughts. He studies people, noticing who gossips, who bends the truth, and who respects confidentiality. He stays involved, but never entangled. That way, if things go sideways, he walks out with his peace untouched, while others get caught in webs of politics and betrayal. In personal relationships, the same principle applies. He can be warm, attentive, and genuinely present, but he does not blur every line. He notices how someone reacts when he says no, how they handle disappointment, or whether their loyalty holds when he has nothing to offer them. Distance here is not rejection, it is observation. It allows him to see people for who they are without illusions clouding his judgment. Controlled distance is freedom. It means he can love without being blind, give without being drained, and trust without handing over the keys to his soul. A narcissist once tried to trap him, twisting closeness into chains. But that chapter taught him how to guard his space without shutting people out completely. This mastery of distance makes the Sigma both unpredictable and untouchable. He is never fully in anyone's pocket, never fully under anyone's control. By keeping that balance, he ensures that his heart and mind remain his own, while still moving through life with clarity and connection. Number 4, he becomes someone who carries scars not as weakness, but as proof that he has been to the bottom and returned with lessons no book can teach. There is something unshakable about a man who carries scars and is not ashamed of them. For the Sigma male, those scars are not marks of weakness. They are proof that he has walked through fire and returned with lessons that no classroom, no book, and no mentor could ever provide. He has been to the bottom, faced betrayal, manipulation, and emotional storms that could have broken him, but instead of staying shattered, he rose with wisdom etched into his very being. Think about how most people treat their scars, whether physical or emotional. They hide them, cover them up, or pretend they were never hurt. But the Sigma takes a different approach. He does not wear his scars for attention. He carries them as quiet reminders of battles he survived. At work, when challenges come, he does not panic like others who have only known comfort. He remembers the weight of darker days, and that memory gives him the calmness to solve problems others crumble under. In personal relationships, those scars make him see deeper than surface charm. A friend who lies, a partner who manipulates, or a relative who only calls when they need something are all easier to recognize when you have lived through the worst of it. His scars give him X-ray vision into people's intentions, saving him from walking blind into traps. The beauty of scars is that they shift how you carry yourself. They remind you that pain can destroy, but it can also build. The Sigma male knows that each scar is like a certificate earned in the school of survival. They are not pretty, but they are priceless. So when you see him move through life with a quiet confidence, understand this: it is not arrogance, it is experience. He has been tested in ways that would have broken others, and his scars are the living proof that nothing the world throws at him can keep him down for long. He does not just carry them, he owns them, and in owning them, he owns his strength. Number 5, he becomes impossible to gaslight because once you escape a web of lies, truth becomes your oxygen and you never let anyone pollute it again. Gaslighting is one of the cruelest tools a narcissist uses. It makes you doubt your memory, your feelings, and even your sanity. They twist your words, deny what you know happened, and spin stories until you question your own reality. For someone who has lived through that, escaping it is like breaking out of a suffocating cage. For the Sigma male, that escape changes him forever. He becomes impossible to gaslight because once you have survived a web of lies, truth becomes your oxygen, and you never let anyone pollute it again. In everyday life, this shows up in the smallest details. Imagine a workplace where someone tries to deny a promise they clearly made. Many people might second-guess themselves, wondering if they remembered it wrong. The Sigma does not. He keeps his clarity intact. He listens, observes, and trusts his perception. Instead of being drawn into endless arguments, he calmly calls out reality or walks away, refusing to give lies any power over him. In relationships, this resistance is even stronger. A manipulative partner might once have said, "You are overreacting, it is all in your head," to make him doubt his feelings. But after surviving a narcissist, the Sigma knows that his emotions are valid signals, not illusions. He no longer dismisses his instincts. If something feels wrong, he trusts it. If words and actions do not align, he believes the actions, not the excuses. Truth becomes his anchor. He no longer seeks endless explanations to justify what he sees with his own eyes. He knows what he knows, and he holds on to it with unshakable certainty. That is why manipulators find him impossible to control. Their favorite weapon, confusion, no longer works on him. The Sigma male who has escaped gaslighting understands something profound. Clarity is survival. Lies may be powerful for a moment, but truth always breathes longer. For him, truth is not negotiable. It is air, and anyone who tries to twist it finds themselves powerless against a man who refuses to suffocate ever again. Number 6. He becomes a mirror breaker, refusing to play the role of reflection that narcissists demand. Narcissists thrive by turning people into mirrors. They expect you to reflect back their greatness, their illusions, and their full sense of importance. For a while, many people fall into that trap, feeding the ego of the narcissist just to keep the peace. But the Sigma male who survives such an experience becomes something entirely different. He becomes a mirror breaker. He refuses to play the role of reflection that the narcissist demands. Instead, he forces people to face their own shadows. This shift changes how he deals with everyone, not just narcissists. In everyday conversations, he no longer nods along just to make someone feel comfortable. If a coworker constantly exaggerates their achievements, he will not feed their fantasy with empty praise. He will respond with silence or with facts that leave no space for self-inflation. In friendships, if someone tries to use charm as a cover for selfishness, he sees right through it and quietly exposes the truth. He is not cruel, but he is brutally honest, and honesty has a way of cracking illusions wide open. In personal relationships, the effect is even stronger. A partner who tries to manipulate through guilt or emotional games quickly learns it does not work on him. He does not reflect back their twisted narrative. Instead, he holds up reality like a clear glass, making them see their own flaws and insecurities. It is uncomfortable for them, but it is liberating for him. Being a mirror breaker is not about being confrontational. It is about refusing to be used as someone else's validation tool. The Sigma male knows that if you spend your life reflecting other people's egos, you lose sight of your own. By breaking the mirror, he frees himself and forces others to stand in front of their own unfiltered reflection. This is what makes him so rare. While many people choose the easy path of compliance, he chooses truth. And truth, though often unwelcome, is the one thing that can shatter illusions and reveal what is real. The Sigma male carries that power everywhere he goes, leaving people with only two choices: grow from what they see or run from it. Number 7, he becomes patient with storms because he survived one. Patience is not something you are born with. It is forged in the fire of hard experiences. For the Sigma male, surviving the storm of a narcissist changes the way he sees chaos forever. What once felt overwhelming now feels like training. He becomes patient with storms because he has already lived through one. Where most people panic and lose control, he grows sharper, calmer, and more focused. Think of a storm at sea. The waves crash, the winds howl, and the unprepared sailor trembles, fearing the boat will flip. But the sailor who has been through storms before does not fear the water. He studies the wind, adjusts the sails, and steers with precision. That is how the Sigma operates in real life. When sudden chaos hits, a crisis at work, betrayal in a relationship, or financial struggles, he does not crumble. He steadies himself, knowing storms always pass, and the one who remains clear-headed during the storm usually comes out on top. At work, this patience sets him apart. While others stress, complain, or quit under pressure, he uses the moment to think strategically. He has endured manipulation and emotional hurricanes from narcissists, so a tight deadline or office drama does not rattle him. In personal life, he knows arguments, misunderstandings, and challenges will come. Instead of reacting instantly, he pauses, observes, and then responds with clarity. That pause is his weapon, and it prevents him from being dragged into unnecessary chaos. What once felt like destruction has now become sharpening. The narcissist tried to drown him, but instead taught him how to swim in storms that sink others. Now, when life gets rough, he does not resist the waves, he uses them. The storm no longer represents danger, it represents opportunity. The Sigma male's calm in chaos unsettles people who rely on panic to gain control. His patience is not weakness, it is mastery. And mastery of storms makes him nearly impossible to break. Number 8, he becomes aware of his own darkness, not afraid of it, but choosing when to release it like a weapon held in reserve. This is not about turning cruel, it is about balance. Imagine being in a workplace where manipulation is the currency. Most people either collapse under the pressure or join in the politics. The Sigma does neither. He stays calm and observant, but if someone pushes too far, he can respond with precision. His words cut through lies without raising his voice, and his silence speaks louder than any argument. That is his darkness, controlled, measured, and powerful. In personal life, this awareness keeps him from being blindsided. A narcissist once fed on his empathy, using it as a leash. Now he understands that empathy must be guarded because the wrong person will twist it against him. His darkness teaches him when to stop giving, when to set limits, and when to walk away without a backward glance. Being aware of his own shadow also keeps him from hypocrisy. He knows he is not flawless. He knows he has anger, pride, and impulses like everyone else. But unlike many, he does not let them rule him. He chooses the moment, the place, and the reason before letting that side of him show. This is what makes the Sigma unpredictable. People cannot manipulate a man who understands both his light and his dark. His shadow does not control him, he controls it. And in that control lies a quiet but undeniable power. The kind of power that makes others think twice before underestimating him. Number 9. He becomes fiercely protective of his peace because he knows what it feels like to live without it. Imagine the difference between a man who has always lived in quiet waters and one who has fought his way out of a storm. The first man may complain about small waves. The second man is just grateful for calm skies and will never let anyone drag him back into chaos. That is exactly how the Sigma male moves after surviving manipulation. He does not entertain unnecessary drama, and he does not argue over things that drain his energy. His peace is too valuable to gamble with. In everyday life, this looks practical and simple. If a co-worker thrives on gossip, he does not participate. If a friend only calls to unload negativity, he quietly creates distance. If a partner uses conflict as a way to gain control, he chooses to walk away rather than stay trapped in cycles of misery. His actions may confuse people who are used to feeding on constant drama, but to him it is survival. Protecting his peace does not make him cold. In fact, it makes him more generous with his time and attention. Because he refuses to waste energy on chaos, he can invest deeply in the things and people that truly matter. His relationships become more meaningful, his focus sharper, and his goals clearer. The Sigma male understands that peace is not just silence or absence of conflict. It is the foundation of a powerful life. Without it, he was once broken. With it, he is unstoppable. That is why he guards it like treasure, because he knows from experience that losing peace is far too costly to ever allow again. Number 10. He becomes someone who reads energy the way others read words, noticing the hidden motives before they become actions. One of the sharpest transformations a Sigma male goes through after surviving a narcissist is learning to read energy the way most people read words. When you have lived in the presence of someone who lied with a straight face, who smiled while plotting control, and who said, "I care about you," while draining you, you begin to develop a sixth sense. The Sigma male trains his intuition without even realizing it. He notices tone, pauses, and even body language. He begins to sense the motive behind the words before those motives ever turn into actions. Think of it like walking into a conversation where everyone else is focused on what is being said. The Sigma is listening too, but he is paying closer attention to what is not being said. A shaky smile, a forced laugh, a sentence that sounds polished but feels empty. He picks up on these small cracks instantly. At work, this keeps him steps ahead. If someone is pretending to be supportive while secretly angling for his downfall, he can feel it in the air long before their plan unfolds. In personal life, this skill saves him from repeating old wounds. He remembers how the narcissist used warmth as a mask, so now he looks deeper. A friend who flatters too much, a partner who avoids accountability, a relative who suddenly becomes overly generous. He questions the timing, the consistency, and the intent. His ability to read energy allows him to see patterns others ignore, protecting his heart from traps disguised as kindness. This gift also shapes how he interacts with genuine people. When he senses sincerity, he leans into it fully, giving trust and loyalty without hesitation. His sensitivity to energy does not just expose the fake, it allows him to connect with the real on a deeper level. The Sigma male no longer takes words at face value. He has graduated into a higher form of awareness where motives whisper louder than sentences, and that awareness makes him nearly impossible to fool twice. Number 11, he becomes ruthless with his time because he knows how easily it can be stolen by someone who only values him for what they can extract. Time is the one thing you never get back, and the Sigma male learns this lesson the hard way. After surviving a narcissist, he realizes just how quickly hours, months, even years can vanish in the hands of someone who never truly valued him. Narcissists are masters at stealing time. They keep you busy explaining yourself, fixing their mess, or feeding their endless need for attention. When the Sigma finally breaks free, he becomes ruthless with his time, treating it as the most valuable currency he owns. In everyday life, this shows up in very practical ways. At work, he is not the man who wastes hours sitting in circles of pointless meetings or entertaining endless small talk that leads nowhere. He cuts straight to the point and focuses only on what moves him forward. If someone tries to use him as a crutch for their laziness, he politely but firmly refuses. He understands that every minute spent on nonsense is a minute he cannot use to build his vision. In relationships, his ruthlessness is even sharper. He no longer entertains people who drain his energy with constant drama, manipulation, or fake emergencies. If someone only calls when they need something, he notices and adjusts. He does not hold grudges, but he does not give them the privilege of his time anymore. That resource is reserved for people who truly value him and bring balance to his life. This does not make him cold. It makes him wise. By protecting his time, he creates space for growth, peace, and meaningful connections. He invests in learning new skills, pursuing passions, and strengthening bonds with those who matter. The Sigma male knows now that time is not free. It is life itself, measured in hours and days. After escaping someone who wasted so much of it, he refuses to let that mistake repeat. He guards it like treasure because in his mind, giving away time without thought is the same as handing over pieces of his soul. Number 12. He becomes a shadow walker, moving in ways that narcissists cannot predict because he no longer lives to be seen, but to remain in control. There is an art to moving without being predicted. After surviving a narcissist, the Sigma male learns that the loudest moves draw the most traps. He becomes a shadow walker, not because he wants mystery for its own sake, but because unpredictability is a form of control. When you stop living to be seen, you stop handing other people the map to your next step. That change makes him hard to manipulate and impossible to script. Think about everyday life. A co-worker who once timed their requests to catch him off guard finds that now his responses are slow and deliberate. A text that used to get instant attention now gets a short, measured reply that reveals nothing. At family gatherings, he no longer gives his feelings on a silver platter. He participates, but he never shows everything. That lack of pattern frustrates people who relied on predictable reactions to pull strings. The narcissist expects drama, a meltdown, or constant explanation. Instead, they face a person who moves quietly, acts with purpose, and keeps his distance without drama. Shadow walking is not hiding. It is strategic presence. It means being visible enough to fulfill obligations and show kindness, and invisible enough to protect inner life. It means choosing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to engage and when to withdraw. It is the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting hands power to other people. Responding keeps power in your hands. This mode also rewrites relationships. People who once controlled him by knowing his patterns can no longer predict his behavior. That uncertainty breaks their scripts. They cannot manufacture guilt the way they used to because there is no longer a reliable button to press. At the same time, real friends and partners learn to respect boundaries without needing constant proof that he is available. They adapt or they reveal their true colors. Becoming a shadow walker is a skill you earn through hardship. It is a quieter kind of strength. It gives the Sigma freedom to act on his terms, to move toward goals without spectacle, and to preserve the one thing a narcissist wanted to steal most: his autonomy. That is the power of being hard to predict. It keeps you free. Number 13, he becomes the nightmare of every manipulator because he has walked through darkness and learned how to turn it into his power rather than his prison. When a Sigma male survives the grip of a narcissist, he does not come out the same. He comes out sharper, harder to fool, and much more dangerous to anyone who thrives on control. He becomes the nightmare of every manipulator because he has already seen the tricks, tasted the poison, and lived in the shadows of someone else's lies. Instead of letting that darkness cage him, he learned how to transform it into a weapon, something that serves him instead of destroys him. Think of it like fire. In the wrong hands, fire burns everything down. But once you understand it, you can use it for light, for warmth, or for power. That is what happens when a Sigma male absorbs the darkness. The very thing meant to break him becomes the very thing that makes him unbreakable. Manipulators hate this transformation because it flips the script. The tactics they once used to confuse or control no longer land. Guilt trips fall flat, lies are spotted instantly, and emotional hooks get cut before they sink in. The Sigma does not just dodge manipulation, he exposes it. He has a way of looking at someone, silent and unshaken, until they realize their games are useless. That silence becomes scarier than any outburst because it shows that he is not caught in their web, he is watching from above it. In everyday life, this plays out in subtle but powerful ways. A boss who tries to pit co-workers against each other finds that the Sigma cannot be baited. A toxic partner who once thrived on jealousy realizes those buttons no longer work. Even in social settings, people who test boundaries discover that he sees through it instantly. What makes him a nightmare to manipulators is not aggression. It is the fact that he cannot be owned, cornered, or rewritten. He turned the darkness into fuel, and fuel makes him unstoppable. He's not just surviving anymore, he is building a life on his terms, and that terrifies anyone who ever thought they could control him. In final words, what happens to a man after he has been dragged through the games of a narcissist and still finds his way out? He becomes someone different, someone that ordinary life can no longer shake. The Sigma male who survives that kind of darkness is not weaker, he is not broken, he is transformed. He learns to turn wounds into wisdom, scars into reminders, and silence into strength. The truth is, walking through manipulation teaches him things no book or lecture could. He learns patience by waiting out chaos. He learns clarity by cutting through lies. He learns peace by protecting it at all costs. These lessons are not glamorous, but they are the kind of truths that last a lifetime. And once you carry them, you no longer live as a prisoner of someone else's games. You live on your own terms. This transformation should not only inspire respect, it should give encouragement to anyone who feels stuck in the grip of someone who tries to control their reality. The darkness is not the end. It can be the beginning of a version of you that no one can bend again. The Sigma male becomes a living example that survival is not just about making it through the storm, it is about walking out of it sharper, calmer, and harder to deceive. He becomes a man who cannot be gaslighted, who cannot be owned, and who no longer negotiates his worth. That is not just power, that is freedom. So if you have ever been caught in manipulation, remember this. The very thing that was meant to destroy you can become the thing that rebuilds you. You can carry that pain differently. You can rise out of it with sharper eyes, stronger boundaries, and a heart that no longer bends to lies. That is what survival creates. That is who you can become. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.